Hello everyone and welcome to Daily Game Review number 25. Today we have Elthalion 7Q versus T3o 4Q, and it's a 3-stone game. So hopefully this will be an interesting game, and we'll see how white handles the 3 stones and how black plays with the 3 stones, and see what each player needs to work on. So we have a normal 3-4 and a normal approach so far, and 1 space low pincer. And we get into this Joseki, very interesting. I'm not a big fan of this move with the 1 space pincer, but because white seems to be able to connect pretty easily unless you do something a little different. If I'm not mistaken, the only thing you can really do is go here and white descends. If you want to try and cut white. Or you can go here, here, and here, like so, to build up some influence. However, this is Gote, and it doesn't feel right for black because white can still get a move here, white can still come in here, and so I don't really like this move as black in this Joseki, but perhaps it is Joseki. I haven't looked it up, but I'm not familiar with this move as a follow-up. If it is a follow-up, guys, look it up, study it, make sure you understand it, but I don't think this result is right. This doesn't look right. I don't think it's good for black. Alright, so what could black have done instead? Well, this is a common Joseki here. It's very easy to do something like this, so perhaps you can do something like this and go here. It's a little bit of complicated Joseki, but also quite common to see played. And you finish that up, or you can play or white might play the new one, which is this one, this one, this one. And this is one of my favorite Josekis lately. And you get something like this. However, you can see black gets the corner, white gets both sides, but with the handicap stones, these 2 stones look really don't look very good for black. They don't look very good for black. Black can easily just go here, and you can see these 2 stones look very uncomfortable. Alright, so moving, it's just all depends on the Joseki choice. Perhaps as white, I would think to play a little bit faster. Maybe try an approach first, or try to get a Sente Joseki, and then go somewhere else. Like, for white, in a handicap, you really want to try and get to places very quickly. And so normally you either Tanuki or you play a Sente Joseki and try and get to the big spots as quickly as possible. But here we see in the game, it's kind of okay for him. He gets a very large corner, and it's a good exchange. And really, what you make sure you pay attention to in the handicap games is look at the local exchanges. So here, to see if you're doing good or not in a handicap game, white got the A area and black got the B area. This exchange is a little good for white because the corner is a little bit bigger than this influence, and white has C, so it's this is a little bit good exchange for white. This means white caught up maybe a couple points here. This is really what you want to focus on when you're playing handicap games, is look at the exchanges. The exchange here is a little good for white. So now white needs to get somewhere else and make another exchange that's good for him. And then you'll try and make exchanges that are good for you over and over, and do your best, and you'll slowly catch up a few points at a time. And that's basically how you deal with the handicap. This is not very good because it's slow, it's Gote, and you doesn't really do anything. But you can see black responds, white responds, and black takes a big move. So let's compare it. This AB is good for white, right? And we could have Tanuki'd. However, white exchanged A, B, C, D. So this exchange, let's play here. A, B, C, D. This exchange is definitely not good for white. So white A for B doesn't feel good because it kind of needs to play C, but then you get C for D. And this exchange is definitely good for black because black got to the big move. White isn't going to really get anything locally but a few points, and there's not really an attack here for a while, so D is definitely more valuable than C. So this exchange is good for black. So you can see the exchange here is a little good for black. Now white does get to play a big move. Black plays here. Not sure why black didn't choose the pincer. This is a common Simon say variation, so I thought maybe black would be familiar with it. And this is fine too. So now you see white's playing much faster, so this is nice. Very common in a handicap game. And you can treat 0-3s lightly because the 3-3 is open. So, however, this Joseki will be sent for black, and black can get here. However, you see black playing a little bit slow move, and this is what you gotta wait for as white, is these little slow moves. Black, you really gotta learn your Joseki. The follow up here, you want to go here, especially in this this position where you can attack 0-3. And black played a weird Joseki in the top left, and now he didn't follow up the bottom left properly. So I think black, you gotta learn your basic Joseki and how they apply to the reward. Perhaps reviewing older Japanese pro games as well as studying, getting a Joseki book or something would be probably very beneficial for you. But here we can see white's going to now get the first move to defend a stone, which he does. This is wrong. That's wrong too. So if white just jumps back and black tries to secure his corner, it's going to be Gote for black. And now white can get up here. Locally, white could even go here, but of course this is what black wants, is to get the outside. But even with the outside, let's see, does this die? I think it does. Yeah, this would die. So white has to live on the inside. Actually, you can just nuke this. So there's Aji here, and then you can play up here. So you can take the corner. You can immediately take the corner. That's why this move isn't normal. However, black is trying to say, if you take my corner, I will take the outside. So white can just come back. And if black tries to kill the stone, then you can see white will get sent to the top. But if black plays the top, then later white can play here, and white will have the extension. So I'm not sure how valuable it is for black to play like that, because white, if he plays smartly, should be able to take advantage of that in the future. However, you can see white fixing the opponent. I really don't like fixing the opponent here, but it does give white very nice solid shape. So maybe white just wanted some security here instead, and he traded a couple points for security. I guess to each their own. I really like weaknesses, but locally here the security is very powerful because it makes black's influence at the bottom left pretty pointless. And now you can see that this Joseki looks a little good for white. This Joseki looks a little good for white. Black did get some points here, and black will get Sente here, so black will get to the top side first, which he does. I think a move here is a little bit better because it also helps secure the corner. It's very common as well. This one looks a little bit strange. You normally want to extend 5, but it looks a little too close to these stones, and white can easily slide under, so it's not really any points here, and it's still invadable. This is strange. Normally you don't see a 4th line invasion. If you want to reduce the moyo, the line of the moyo is here, and you could maybe play something along these lines to reduce the moyo. But this looks like it's reducing the side, but it's behind enemy lines, so it really needs to be on the 3rd line so it can live easily or make easier life. This is going to be a little difficult for white to play. Black should play this way to take the base. White plays here, and black can play here. And you can see white only has maybe 1 eye on the side. So, a little bit strange for white to play this way. A little bit strange. Black may have also chosen to play more, put more pressure on white by playing something like this. But there is this difficult Joseki, so perhaps something like this and just get it back to normal. And if you get it back to normal here, white can shoulder hit and then maybe Sabaki out. So hard to say. Hard to say. What black did in the game doesn't seem too bad. You just have to follow it up this way. This is a little strange. Unnecessary Hane. I suppose white wanted to make sure this is Gote. Okay. Alright, so white definitely has 1 eye on the side. Now white gets out. This is Gote. Don't play this small Gote move. This is like endgame. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. White will get Sente, and I'm not a big fan of this move. So white has a move here. I would probably go ahead and get it. And then white's practically alive. And now white's almost alive everywhere, so white can deal with this. And just invade now. I think just go ahead and invade now. And now you're destroying black's right side potential. Because the right side's actually quite large. And if black gets the right side, it's going to be very difficult for white to catch up. However, black doesn't secure the right side, but rather keeps attacking, and the attack is probably not going to work out for him. This move's pointless. It doesn't do anything. White's playing overplay here. I'm not sure what he's doing here. White trying to build up the left side, but the right side's much bigger than the left, guys. I don't know what both players are doing. The right side's much bigger than the left side here. Both players playing smallish moves, and there we go. Now white gets to the right side, so white still has a chance to win this game because now white has the left side and black doesn't have the right side. But the right side was a little bit bigger than the left, so if black got the right and white got the left, then the black would have been a little bit ahead, probably. So black misses chance. So let's see. This shape is still only one eye, right? So that means you want to get some thickness and then put pressure on this group while attacking this group. However, just pushing him out like this seems a little too easy on white. So I just easily took it. So that means you lost this area, so you should probably do something about this area, huh? There's not really an attack anymore because white has all these follow-up moves on the side. White has an eye here. I mean, there's not really an attack anymore. White, this slide is actually quite powerful now. It's the slide's getting quite big. And you see white reducing black's area. Black playing another small move. Now white defending this. Both players. Okay, now we're getting into endgame. Okay, saying white's should win this game because white just got all the big endgame moves and he destroyed the right side and secured the left side, so white should be way ahead. So let's go ahead and see the result. It should be white up by a bit. Doesn't look like anything crazy happened. Game info. White wins by 8.5. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. White did destroy the right. White got the left, and white got the big endgame move. So white should be up by quite a bit. And 8.5 is a good bit. I thought it would be a little bit more than that, but it's still fine. This was a 3-stone game, so winning by 8.5 is well good enough. I don't know what the phrase I'm looking for, guys. I don't know what I'm looking for. Like I said in some previous videos, my English is getting worse with each and every video, but hopefully you guys are improving with each and every video, so it's an okay trade for me to make. Alright, so in this game, I saw a lot of Joseki mistakes by black, a lot of slow moves by black, and a few slow moves by white, but this is kind of expected because there's kind of a level gap here, right? So black, you just got to learn your Josekis and make your moves a little bit more valuable. Both players wasted moves in the center over here a lot, and the center over here a lot. So I think both players need to learn to count territory. Make sure you're counting the territory, and this will help you see what areas are important. If you can understand what is and isn't territory and start counting it, then it'll help you understand who's ahead by how much, and hopefully it'll help you see where the big moves are, and then try to make your moves always do something. Black, start studying some Joseki, maybe get a Joseki book, look up any Joseki you don't know. This is important. And don't just memorize them. Try to replay them, understand them, see why each of the moves in the variation are played. What other moves would you think about playing? See if you can see why they're punishable. If you don't, then maybe ask. Also, a Joseki book would probably be very helpful for you. White, I think you need to count territory, but you also need to start thinking about counting the value of your moves. For example, about 2Q, you want to start counting not only the board, but counting how valuable each of the potential moves are worth. So is invading the right side bigger than building the left side? Count each of the moves and see how valuable each of the moves are, kind of like you count in game. You can count in game pretty easily to an extent, but when you start counting the middle game, it becomes a little bit more difficult, but it's still possible after you've practiced it enough. And about 2Q is when you want to do this. 4Q is getting close to 2Q, and so you can. And once you start doing that, you'll realize the right side was actually quite big compared to building the left side. However, you did get to both, so that was pretty convenient. But you eventually run into opponents who won't let you get both, so it's not going to be so simple in the future. So you need to start counting how valuable your moves are worth, where the big moves are, and get to those big moves much more quickly. And yeah, stop playing the small moves and try and put a little bit more importance on getting Sente. Sente is actually quite valuable. Alright, so this was a little difficult game to go over, but because the level's getting a little bit high, and I usually try and stop. I try to make the cap at like 5Q, but since there's a 7Q involved, I think it's fine as well. Normally 5Q is my limit for teaching right now until I get stronger. While I do think 4Qs and 3Qs, 2Qs and 1Qs I can give advice to, I don't think I can teach them as well as anyone 5Q or lower. But I do want to help all of you guys get to that Dawn level. It's just once you get down to past 5Q, it becomes more and more difficult to improve, and you're catching up to me, guys. Think about that. I'm only like 4 Dawn, so you guys are actually catching up to me. Once you get to the 2Q, 1Q level, you're almost a Dawn level player, and then you need to start thinking of how you can beat me. So you'll need someone stronger to help you catch up to me, and I can only get you so far, guys. But I will try my best to get you as close as I can to Dawn level, and hopefully these videos are helping with that. And this was actually a little bit high level video, and a few high level concepts, but hopefully it helps, guys. Hopefully many people found it useful, and you can see different approaches to handicap games. And I think the more handicap games you guys see in the series, the easier it will be for you to play handicap games. Mostly as white, you want to play quick, a fast-paced game, make good exchanges for you, and put an emphasis on getting Sente. Black, you really want to make sure the exchanges are equal or greater for you. You really got to be careful about not losing in the exchanges, because that'll start biting you in the butt really quickly. Also, try and get to Sente when you can, and don't be afraid to attack your opponent's weaknesses. Your opponent will leave some weaknesses behind, and if you can punish those properly, you'll get good exchanges out of it. And yeah. So handicap games are a little difficult to approach, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually not that much difference from even games. You just have to. It's just your ability to understand what's happening. And once you can understand what's happening on the board, the handicap games are actually pretty similar to even games, even though many people don't think that and many people don't realize that. It's basically, if you can understand what's happening on the board, understand how the game works, what the goals are for each variation, then you can more or less understand how to approach a handicap game. The more handicap stones, I think past 5 stones, even with 5 stones, past the 5 stones, I think you really should not take the handicap game seriously and think of it more as a teaching game rather than a competitive game. If you are playing in a tournament with more than 5 stones, to me, that's kind of ridiculous due to the fact that 5 stones are nearly impossible to play against unless the player plays some really bad moves. What I mean by this is no matter what plan you come up with, in your mind, you will be able to counter it with the 5 stones. It'll be really hard for you to find good exchanges until your opponent makes the mistakes. And when you're reading, it's really bad style to read and hope your opponent makes a mistake. However, with 5 stones plus, that's what you're going to have to do. So you kind of just don't really read too in depth. You just try to find the Sente variation, and don't fix your opponent's weaknesses, and your opponent will eventually mess up. And that's how you deal with 5 stones or more. So I really don't like the 5 stone or more games being in tournaments. I think they're only good for teaching games. Competitive games, it's just you're waiting for your opponent to mess up, and that usually creates bad habits in thinking and bad habits in reading. But anyway, 4 stones to 1 stone, I think is still approachable in in a strategic sense that you can still come up with plans to try and catch up. You just have to push your game to play at a quicker pace. So yeah, definitely try and work on that, guys. Hopefully these games are helping you guys, and hopefully you understand handicap a little bit more. And yeah, we also got some even games as well. So yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the series. And remember, if you want to get your own game reviewed, you can submit it for a chance to get it reviewed in the link in the description below. All right, so I hope to see you guys and see your games in the future, and I hope you guys are enjoying this, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, bye bye.